and 22 days to Christmas. This is Morning Live. Welcome.
All right, do talk to us across our feedback lines. Our SMS line is 23059. The hashtag is Morning Live. Do tell us where you're watching us from, and we'll be glad to sample your feedback. So let's begin with what is making headlines in Kenya this morning. Now, President William Ruto has stated that he will not allow any constitutional amendments aimed at extending his tenure as president.
Speaking at Jukwaa la Usalama report in State House, Nairobi, he emphasized that those advocating for an extension of his term do not understand the weight and responsibilities that come with holding the highest office in the country.
The remarks come amid a series of statements by certain politicians and allies calling for a review of the constitutional term limits to extend the president's stay in office.
President Ruto stressed that his focus remains on fulfilling his current mandate and serving Kenyans within the legal framework established by the Constitution.
Masoko 400. Nyinyi mmeshaona masoko inajengwa dunia hii? Si ndio? Hapa Kiambu peke yake tunajenga soko 30 in Kiambu County. Hapa Kiambu. Nakuru nilikuwa huko juzi, tunajenga soko 25. Hakuna serikali imejenga soko 25 kaunti moja. Wakijenga pengine soko moja in 5 years. Sio kama tunaelewana. And kama hiyo tumefanya ni kwa miaka miwili. Munieleze. Miaka 10 Kenya itakuwa inakaa namna gani? Miaka 20? Miaka 20? Na unajua nilisema hivyo juzi, watu wengine wako na tabia mbaya. Wakaenda wakasema, huyu mtu amesema atakuwa rais miaka 20. Kwani watu wanafikiri hii kazi ya rais ni kazi rahisi ya kupigiwa kelele kila siku? Mimi nangojea siku mimi nitatoka hapa niende. Mwingine achukue asonge. Ama namna gani? I want to make my contribution. Mungu akinipatia nafasi mimi nitafanya bidii. Kwa ile Mungu atanipatia nafasi. I have no interest. Nyinyi mnanielewa my friends? Nyinyi mnajua kabla ya uchaguzi uliopita mimi na team yangu tulifanya what we called economic forums in every county. Tulienda kila county kuzungumza na wananchi, kuelewa vile wanavyotaka na kutueleza vile wangetaka serikali yao iendeshwe na ni mambo gani ya muhimu. Na ndio kwa sababu hiyo ile mpango tunayoendesha kama serikali mukasikia inaitwa bottom up. Bottom up ni kwa sababu imeanza chini. Na bottom up is not a slogan. Bottom up is not a tactic. Bottom up is a strategy. Ya vile ya kushughulikia mambo yanayohusu wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Kwa ile mipango yote ambayo tunatekeleza kama serikali, mambo ya elimu, mambo ya kilimo, mambo ya afya, mambo yale mengine yote ambayo tunayotekeleza, tunaelekezwa na vile tutashughulikia mwananchi wa kawaida pale chini. That is our strategy.
Yes, Cynthia, we're living in very good, very interesting, very challenging times and very confusing times, and again, very convincing times. And that story from our very own president makes us feel like we're entering December in a mode that we can celebrate until the end of 2026. He is 3 years old in that presidential position, and we're looking at the situations and states whereby African presidents don't really want to be unseated or even don't want to be removed from the seats. And the example of Paul Biya, Cameroon, Rwanda here, Uganda here, here in Tanzania, and even in our very own place, is like you have to stay there for not less than 2 terms so that you become an African president. But our president is, yesterday, he said, or even he poured out very good statements that there are people who are pushing him to go up to 20 years in as the president of this country. And there is a time he also said he wants to be there to make sure that what he started, he finishes. And this is a country with developments taking place every day. Do you think you can sit in a position until you finish everything that you started? And how should it be? But the top line is our president is ready to move out of this seat immediately. Actually, if he's allowed to move out of the position because of the responsibility held in the highest position or the highest job in this country, he's ready to go out.
Yeah, I don't understand why this is even a conversation, because the Constitution is quite clear on how long a president can be in office, and that's just for 2 terms, 5-year term each. If you're lucky to get the 2nd term, well and good, serve your 2 terms, and your role is basically done. Perhaps this is also because of a few, I'd say, leaders, politicians. We've seen also a business leader who, publicly, actually in a different country, not in Kenya, while they were in a different country in Uganda, saying, if he had a choice, he would want him to serve for 20 years. You've got a local leader who says they want to push a bill to have the presidential term minutes scrapped off. Cherargei, the Nandi senator, saying, he wants to extend that to 7 years. Talk is cheap, but if you're going to talk about matters that touch on such a critical aspect of the Constitution, it doesn't become a cheap talk anymore. And perhaps that is why, the head of state thought it befitting to address it, so that it does not touch on the emotions of Kenyans in a wrong way. He's not a very favorite president in a section of Kenyans. He's favorite for others. So we really don't want to rub the other Kenyans the wrong way. So this should not really even be a conversation, a top conversation at the moment. It should be a question on what has he done within this 1st term, and if he wants a 2nd term, what is it that he's going to do more? On your question on is it possible to complete all projects within 10 terms, I think in Kenya we've adopted
10 years.
In 10 years. In Kenya we've adopted a culture that you can't do things in the first 5 years, and that gives you an excuse to go for a 2nd year. So perhaps just because of the trend of the last 2 presidents we've seen, Mwai Kibaki as well as Uhuru Kenyatta, it may be difficult to complete it in 10 times because there's 10 years, because there's a lot of politics involved. Talk about also the budget shortfall. So it's just a question of are we able to maximize as a leader that within your 1st term, you're able to focus more on development and let it speak for you, right? Let it speak for you rather than you trying to be your own crusader. This is what I've done. No, allow, because development will speak. It will speak. It does not keep silent. And so, we'll be waiting to see if he gets the 2 terms and what difference, he does in the 1st term, or does he become now the 1st president really to go home within the 1st term.
And Cynthia, you've said that most of the leaders that we elect or even put into positions, they do their work in the 2nd term. And we're looking at the 1st term that they don't deliver. If they don't deliver, what propels them into the next term? And if they just get the 2nd term, they be fortunate enough to get the 2nd term. Do you think if all matters and if developments matters to them, do you think they deliver they're supposed to deliver? Do you think they'll do quality delivery to the people of this country?
Right. That's a very good question, because, if you cannot deliver within the first 5 years, what guarantees Kenyans that you're going to deliver within the second 5 years? And so I believe, perhaps it takes you, the first term takes you 2 or 3 years to settle down, to understand the cycles, to get your people actually on the ground and up and running. And there's always a popular saying that goes, the first and second days for you to almost like orient yourself with an office. The third year is to do some development. Fourth year, you're back on the road campaigning. And the fifth, asking, oh, allow me to get this second term, 6 years, all the way to 10.
And the promises just still come back as they were last time. And during the by-elections just a few days ago, I saw someone say that I used 40 million to campaign, but I managed to garner only 500 votes. And that brings into the concern of, I used this amount of money and I'm elected. How do I compensate myself? How do I be compensated? How do I get paid back for what I used?
Yeah, I think that's one wrong thing about leadership that really needs to be called out. When you are campaigning, that means there's some funds that you've magically raised either through friends, through people that believe in your, in your work, or through, or even your own money. It does not explicitly state anywhere that I spent 500 million shillings campaigning. When I get into office, I need to get my money back. That is so wrong, because you campaigning, you're asking for the people's vote. That means you had your own strategy and your own financial plan. And one thing I love about the USA is that, for example, the presidential polls, they've got an institution that actually audits how money was used during the campaign period, and there's a limit. You're not supposed to exceed a certain limit. And there's every single accountability of a coin. This money went into the publicity. This money went into fueling cars. This money went into printing posters. But in Kenya, perhaps us being a developing country, when you talk about auditing a campaign money, people are going to really, slam you, especially those in politics. They will slam you because they'll say, oh, this is my money. Why do you need to audit my money? But perhaps if we want to get to Singapore and being a first world country, we also need to look at this kind of aspects. It's not wrong to copy from US when it comes to auditing campaign money. That's a good thing, so that we look at how many billion shillings has been spent in a campaign? How many millions has been spent in a campaign, and was it used properly? So perhaps that is one thing that as we go along as a developing country, we can always adapt in the near future.
Yes, thank you. And you said that we're a developing country and we use our money so carelessly. So I think auditing will be very good for us, and to make sure that we analyze every coin and every expenditure so that we see how we can propel ourselves and push ourselves back. Okay, moving on. 6
newly elected members of parliament and the new Baringo senator were on Tuesday sworn into office, at the National Assembly, replacing leaders who passed away and joined the cabinet or had the election results nullified.
Ahead of the swearing-in ceremony, the clerk of the National Assembly, Samuel Joroge, conducted an orientation session for the members-elect and the speaker's guidance within the main parliament buildings.
The briefing covered registration and collection of biodata, an introduction to the chamber system, a guided tour of parliamentary precincts, and an overview of key legislative procedures.
The 6 MPs formally took their oath of office before Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, officially marking the start of their parliamentary duties.
Ahmed Malims Hassan was sworn in as MP for Banisa constituency, succeeding the late Kulo Malim Hassan, who died in a road accident in March of 2023.
David Athman Dakwa assumed office as MP for Malava constituency. Lulu Injendi, who passed away in February 2025 after long illness.
Boyd Were Ongondo was sworn in as the new Kasipul MP, taking over from his late father Charles Ongondo Were, who was fatally shot in April 2025.
Moses Okoth Omondi took office as the MP for Unguja constituency, succeeding former minority leader Opio Andai, who joined the cabinet as cabinet secretary for energy and petroleum in August 2024.
Leo Amuthende Njeru was sworn in as MP for Mbere North, replacing Geoffrey Ruku, now serving as cabinet secretary for public service, human capital development and special programs.
And Harrison Garama Kombe also returned to parliament as the MP for Magarini after winning a repeat election following the nullification of his earlier victory by the courts.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to introduce to you the member-elect for Mbere North, Njeru Leo Wamuthende.
Christian or Muslim? Christian. Take the Bible in your right hand, raise it, and recite the oath.
I, Njeru Leo wa Mudhende,
kwa jina la Mwenyezi Mungu kwamba nitakuwa mwaminifu
to the member-elect for Banisa constituency, Hassan Ahmed Maalim.
Raise.
do swear in the name of the Almighty God that I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the people.
The Kakamega Senator Boni Alwale has been removed from his position as the majority leader of the United Democratic Alliance in the Senate and replaced by Bungoma Senator David Wakuli. Senate Speaker Amason Kingi informed
and this relates to the changes in the Senate Majority Party leadership. Now, Honorable Senators, via the letter reference number SEN/035/SBC/012/2025, dated 2nd December 2025, I received correspondence from the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Aaron Cheriot, EGH MP, regarding changes in the Majority Party leadership affecting the office of the Senate Majority Whip. As you're aware, Standing Order 22.5 provides as follows. A senator elected under paragraph 1 may be removed by a majority of votes of all the senators belonging to the majority party. Further, Standing Order 22.7 states as follows, that upon a decision being made by the majority party or coalition under this standing order, the decision of the party or coalition shall be communicated to the Speaker in writing, together with the minutes of the meeting at which the decision was made. A, in the case of the removal of the Senate Majority Leader or the Deputy Senate Majority Leader by the Senate Majority Whip, and B, in the case of removal of the Senate Majority Whip or the Deputy Senate Majority Whip by the Senate Majority Leader. Now, Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order 22.7, the said letter from the Senate Majority Leader was accompanied by the following documents. 1. Minutes of the Majority Party meeting dated the 2nd of December 2025, which is a record of the proceedings of the minute together with resolutions. And 2. Duly signed list of senators who attended the above indicated meeting. Now, from the correspondence, the minutes indicate that a resolution was passed to remove the Senate Majority Whip, Senator Dr. Boni Alwale, CBS MP, in accordance with Standing Order 22.5. The minutes further indicate the Majority Party elected Senator David Wafula Waholi MP to serve as the Senate Majority Whip in his place. Now, Honorable Senators, Standing Order 22.8 provide as follows. The Speaker, upon receipt of the decision under paragraph 7, shall verify the correspondence received and deliver communication to the Senate within 3 sitting days. In this respect, I have verified the correspondence received and hereby communicate that the Majority Party has effected a change in the office of the Senate Majority Whip. The new office holder, therefore, with immediate effect is Senator David Wafula Wakoli, MP.
All right, I'm back. United opposition leaders have warned that Kenyans failing to retrace their steps in the 2027 general elections could jeopardize the nation's future.
They made the remarks while attending the memorial service of Honorable Joseph Consolo Munya, former Secretary General to President Mwai Kibaki, held at Nairobi Baptist Church.
The leaders called on citizens to remain firm, united and patriotic as the country approaches the next general elections.
They emphasized the importance of active participation in safeguarding democratic principles and the nation's stability.
Our country is at crossroads, and it is up to us, all of us, the clergy and lay people, politicians, everybody included, to weigh where we may have gone wrong and where we need to correct. The truth shall always be the truth. However much we cover lies or falsehoods, they will never graduate to become the truth. We need to change the way we do things. And yes, Bere and Malava and all this by-elections, something was terribly wrong. But as citizens, we must ask ourselves, even though we are oppressed, are the gifts worth it? Because they confuse and give room for meddling. We are coming to a general election in about 1.5 years. If we do not retrace our steps, we stand to lose our nation. So let us work hard, think hard, and be patriots, the way the late Joseph Consolo Munyao was.
His contribution to the growth of the Democratic Party as a strong political party reminds all of us the need to develop strong political parties for democracy in this country. And as we bury him, we'll emulate him, and in the parties that we belong, we'll make sure that we develop them into strong political parties for the growth of our democracy.
If there's something we can borrow from Zay, there's one word that runs through all the stories we've heard about him and all the tributes paid today. And that word is integrity, integrity, integrity. If we could just borrow that from Zay and inject that into our national discourse and our leadership, this country would truly change. Those who are talking about Kenya becoming a Singapore, it will take integrity in our leadership. It will take the kind of leadership that we've seen in Mzee to change this country.
As we lay him to rest, the party that he so proudly led and was part of has just gone through a by-election. I want to, in my own view, say DP did not lose in Bere North, so that Consolo will rest in peace. It was something else.
Machakos Women Representative Joyce Kamene Kasimbi has strongly condemned the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, for failing to prevent violence during the November 27th by-elections.
Speaking on the recent unrest, Kisimbi criticized the commission for not grabbing gangs that disrupted polling stations, attacked candidates, and caused widespread destruction of property. She specifically highlighted incidents in Malava where houses, hotels, and vehicles were set ablaze. The legislator warned against actions that encourage election malpractice and undermine democratic processes, stressing that such chaos must not be allowed to recur. She called on the IEBC to work closely with the police to ensure all polling stations are free, fair, and secure ahead of the 2027 general elections. Kasimbi cautioned that if the upcoming elections mirror the recent unrest, many Kenyans may fear going to the polls, denying them their democratic rights.
The only observation I made, IEBC, this was just the beginning. And I wonder kama mulikuwa na hizo vituo zikiwa chache hivyo, what will happen? Because lazima to avoid mambo ya attacking na mambo ya goons, na mambo ya kumake sure kama ni watu wamebebwa, hao ndio wanachukua kiti. Lazima stand firm na elections zifanyike vile they are supposed to be done. Yes, tuliona kwa TV and especially pande ya Malava. Kuna mheshimiwa niliwitness na nikaona pia kwa nini zikisakilate wa kule nini anaitwa mheshimiwa Kalasinga, nyumba biashara yote nini chini, imevandaliziwa in the name of ana support an independent candidate. Lazima tukue tukielewa kana kwamba this is politics, we are a democratic country and everybody has a right to support the person of their choice. Kwa hivyo kwa IEBC lazima mulainishe. I was an observer na nikaona milango na dirisha zikifungwa. When you close those windows na watu wako ndani na wanahesabu, we start asking ourselves questions. Ni nini inafanyika hapo? Wacha ikue free, na kama ni free and fair, sioni ni nini itaenda kufichwa hapo. Let us follow order. Wale wako supposed kuingia ndani waingie ndani, na hatutaki fujo. Make sure you collaborate with the police, which is the security. Muhakikishe kuna usalama in all places. Hata wananchi wakikuja, they feel safe. I experienced it, I saw it, na nikajua kama 2027 itakuwa hivyo. Vurugu zitakuwa na watu wengi hawatatokezea wakapige kura. Let everybody get their opportunity. Mukue guarded, mukue na whatever it takes, machinery yote, ndio mambo ya elections ikuwe mzuri 2027.
All right, from that story, we'd love to take a quick break, but as you can see, we have the newspapers with us, the Daily Nation and the Standard. When we come back, we'll be giving you the headlines this morning.
Keep sending in your question, your suggestion, and your comments. We shall be sampling them once we are through and once we come back. And one of the things that we want to ask you, or even a bigger question that we may ask you, what did chiefs do in your place that long time ago? What they do in your place? What kind of stress and what kind of challenge they press into you during that long time? Stay tuned. Good morning once again. Remember, you're watching Morning Live, and we're moving into the newspaper review. We've got the Daily Nation, and we're starting on with the Standard newspaper, the Kenya's born newspaper. My question was, what pressure did those long-time chiefs give you that long time when we were very young, when we used to do things around home, when things were not moving on very well around the villages? Let me see your samples, or even let me see your comments on our stream. And now we're reading from the Standard newspaper that dreaded chiefs back, and they are called strong men. President Ruto has resurrected the long-feared imperial chief, arming administrators, hunting them fresh battalions of officers, and restoring a command structure Kenyans thought they abolished years ago. What State House hails as empowerment is being read on the ground as return of village enforcers whose past brutality is etched in national memory. Suspicion is growing that the government is rebuilding a grassroots machine ahead of 2027 general election. If you've got the copy of the Standard, you can just look at that, and from page 4 and 5 of the Standard. But I would just want you to give you some points as far as the issue of chiefs is concerned. And number one, there's a kind of expanded security where chiefs will work with the new NGAP police unit, tackle alcohol and drug abuse, support crime prevention, and help enforce national security measures at the grassroots. And the second one is strengthened administrative and communication role. They will coordinate government programs, counter misinformation, manage village elders, and receive increased operational funds. And the third one is upgraded structure and support. Chiefs gain promotions, more officers, new infrastructure. This is police stations, vehicles, and improved deployment systems as part of a wider overhaul of the national administration. And there is a statement, or even there is a comment here from our very own president. It's your responsibility to inform the people what we are doing, because there is a lot of misinformation and fake news on social media. This is, I think, the final commissioning that the president was doing to the chiefs, as he was graduating them and even giving them these new roles. And Cynthia, I'm looking at a lot of responsibilities that are given to these newly graduated chiefs and the new roles that they are given. And I'm looking at it at a very at a perspective whereby I think in a way someone is benefiting from the same, and again someone is losing from the same, and is a disadvantage to the other. Like the third truth about the chiefs is that chiefs gain promotions, more officers, new infrastructure, that is police stations and vehicles, and improved deployment systems as part of a wider overhaul of the national administration. And this is to mean we need to have new police stations. They need to have vehicles to be manning the regions that they are given. And in line with that, these new police stations, they need money. These vehicles need money, and there is a place where you looked at the issue of promoting the chiefs, and promoting the chief. This you promote, then you add some pay on the same. And I'm looking at a place whereby the issue of development in our region, in our country, is very low. And if you try to analyze, you find them such that some regions are rejected, and they are not considered as in this country. Like if you go to places like the farthest places of Meru, you go to Kitui, you go to Mwingi, you go all the way to Northeastern, you find that developments have not gotten to that point. And there is also the issue of these chiefs. It's like they'll be used in a way of mobilizing people for the 2027 general elections, against what we're being told that they are communicating what the government is doing now, because there is the kind of misinformation that is coming through our social media platforms. And sometimes the information that comes through social media sometimes is not credible, it's not so true, but sometimes we find there is a bit of truth within it itself. Now, we said in the morning, if at all these leaders have to speak, they have to speak through the developments that they are doing to the people of this country, not a matter of adding or even employing more people or even putting chiefs into place. And these are imperial chiefs who were long feared, and they used to harass people. They used to arrest people if they find you brewing karubu and other things. If they find you maybe dealing with drugs, they'll arrest you, they'll harass you, and maybe a lot of pressures will be put on you. But the reason as to why these chiefs are put in place is like they are giving the information from what the government is doing. It's like they are machines used to convey messages from the government that we are doing this, and we are doing that. And my question is, what if we bring development to the grassroots? Will the chiefs have to play the role of a messenger that this is what the government is doing if the development is done?
Right. There are two ways to look at this meeting that happened at State House, with the president meeting the chiefs there, as well as, persons like the CS for Interior, the deputy president, national government leaders. It could be one, there's actual need to facilitate chiefs within the locals to be able to execute their mandates without any threats, without any intimidations or fear that gangs are going to reiterate. And we'll be speaking about the gangs in a bit. But there's also, you can look at the aspect to which, they want to be able to give them the sort of manpower they need to give feedback, political feedback for that matter, to politicians within the constituencies, the counties, or even the national government. But I'm going to speak on the security aspect of it, because chiefs are the backbone of family and community discipline. these are the people, when you're having marital conflicts, the first person that you have to go to is the chief. Perhaps you want to separate, you have to go to the chief. If there's an issue with your neighbor and you want it solved, you have to go to the chief. So they serve such a critical role in the communities as well as in their families. And it's unfortunate that, with the chiefs that we have, they're not armed, or have not gone through that security training that you'd envisage a government officer should have. And that is why the president has given that directive of deploying about 1,860 national government administration police unit officers, which was obsolete, to help the chiefs in doing their mandate. The people that crack down on illegal alcohol are the chiefs. The people that are supposed to get that feedback on the state of security within this community, within this ward, are the chiefs. So they play such a critical role in terms of ensuring there's discipline and that there's the rule of law within the ward levels, within the villages. And it's unfortunate that they have not had the sort of manpower they've had. I mean, look at a chief and ask them how much they earn. Most of the time you go and even look at just the offices that they are set up in. They're such in a dilapidated form. And it's quite sad because they handle so many cases on a day-to-day basis, cases that you go to a police officer or to the police cell perhaps, and they'll ask you, have you gone to your chief? And so, they need to work hand in hand, yes, but at the same time, they need that bit more manpower. And it should be to the point the legal threshold allows. Let it not be beyond what the law says, and let it not be something that is going to, as well as upset Kenyans. So the dreaded chiefs are back. We hope that, they're not back in a way to sort of intimidate Kenyans, back in a way to, cast a lot of shadow and a lot of light on Kenyans in such a negative way, but it should be in a positive way, because they'll have the support of about 1,860 officers within the regions. And if this can be implemented, then you're likely to see a bit more of your chief. You're likely to see them work a bit more in terms of coordinating security response as well, coordinating emergency response as well in the villages. So they play such a critical role.
Okay, now, that's a good one. And I'm looking at the issue of being used as machines ahead of 2027 general elections. What do you think they are playing? What do you think people think it is they are coming to do?
That's an interesting one, because, these are people that have got intel. How many voters do we have in this region? How many households? How many students? How many people that are working do we have in these villages? Especially if you talk about the interior parts of the country. For example, if I talk about my home county, Bungoma, the chief within this particular village may have more intel than even a member of parliament may have. And so it's such a valuable asset for any MP, because, or any leader for that matter, any governor, even the president for that matter, that they've got intel on, is this region anti-government? Is this village pro-government? Can I put in a lot of resources to woo these people, or do I just put in less resources because they already support me? So there could be a lot of aspects to it, but I believe they've got so much intel, which is quite valuable for politicians to help them in terms of campaigning, to almost lay the groundwork ahead of the campaign season, which has already started, but it's going to get more intense. So the chiefs really, it's just to lay, groundwork, coordinate, talk to the village elders, talk to the Nyumba Kumi leaders, talk to people that they feel are very much instrumental and may change the course of an election, of a ward, of a constituency, of a county, or even for the presidency. So this, the president does this quite timely as well, to just remind them that, I may not talk about you all the time, but remember, I still support the chiefs, what they're doing. I still feel like you need a lot of backup and you need a lot of support. And so, the chiefs are supposed to be bipartisan, as a matter of fact, in terms of the political aspects of it within the county regions. But at an individual point of view, they may have their own decision orientation on who they want to vote for, but they'll be quite valuable for politicians in terms of laying the groundwork ahead of the campaign season and just, you know, giving them statistics, data. This region or this village, you know, if you can get them a borehole, then this people may vote for you. If you go to this region, there's a big problem with access to education. If you can get them a local school, you know, something that a school that is closer to these people, then they're likely to, you know, align with you. So I believe the intel that they will have will be quite valuable. And, you know, they say about research is everything. When you're trying to implement a project, you're trying to do something important, research is everything. So these chiefs are basically the research personnel for politicians.
Okay, that I understand, and but I'm looking at the issue of, and we've said that we have different and many leaders, and sorry, not everyone is set to deliver, not everyone is set to do developments around that region. And the issue of intel, I understand, and it's a very good one, and they have to communicate to the leaders that we have. But again, I'm looking at the issue of maybe I've not performed, I've not delivered what I'm supposed to deliver. There is a point where maybe they come in as a way of convincing people, please, let's return so and so, so that he does this to us and this. So being used as a machine ahead of 2027 general elections, I think they need to play their role very well and to make sure that they have to deliver also from the grassroots, so that if they have to input someone as a leader, they have to choose very wisely and put someone who will make sure that the village, because they access, they go to the deepest and the most interior parts of a village, so it's like they know every person, so they know every issue where someone, the problems that people are facing, the lack of fees, a lack of good roads around the villages. And so if they have to convince people to vote, they have to know very well that if I'm pushing someone to be voted in for, I have to promise you that this person will deliver to you. Otherwise, if it is done in the contrary, I think this person will be blamed all throughout the term. This leader will be in place. Yeah. So I think that is the biggest story that we have on the top page of the Standard. Na tulikuwa tumeuliza, what are the pressures that the imperial chiefs gave you that long time? We'll be reading your comments in a short while. So that story, well, you can read it more from page 4 and 5 of the Standard. And page 2 of the Standard is KICD sounds alarm on fake senior school materials flooding market. And page 3 of the Standard, mother turns to DNA test to trace former KDF son lost for 19 years. And page 4, imperial chiefs Ruto orders to seize return of feared administrators. That's why we're asking, what threat did these chiefs give to you? What intimidation did they give to you? And page 5, rising abuse of women, children emerges as biggest security threats. And maybe the last one, impeachment script, will Senate bury or salvage Nyaribo's career? And the last one, MP proposes part-time terms for TSC leaders. For more of this, you can just grab a copy of the Standard newspaper. Going to the Daily Nation.
All right, so Daily Nation, top of the page, is something similar to Matters Chiefs, but takes a different angle, and it talks about gangland hotspots. Now, the Jukwaa la Usalama report was, was received by President William Ruto. If you remember correctly, for the better part of this year, the CS for Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen, has been going county to county for the Jukwaa la Usalama to just take stock of security in counties, assess what are some of the biggest security, interferences within county governments, and he's done that, and now the report is out. So the biggest takeaway is that Kenya is now slowly becoming a gangland hotspot, and that is the top of the page story on the Daily Nation, gangland hotspots. Now, ruthless gangs are waging a reign of terror across the country, characterized by political violence, kidnappings, and murders, according to an Interior Ministry report. It reveals in Nairobi alone, over 130 criminal groupings deployed in bloody confrontations was in the case of the recent mini poll. So that is the latest from the Jukwaa la Usalama report. In Nairobi alone, over 130 gangs. Now, if you look at, for example, Busia, Bungoma, Kakamega, we've got gangs like Jeshi Jinga, 42 Brothers, M23, Kapenguria 6, Usiku Sako. If you go to Nakuru, there are gangs like Confirm and Wateitei. If you go to Kwale, there are gangs like Panga Boys. If you go to Mombasa, you have gangs like MRC, Panga Boys, Team Mashamba, Mawoz. In Kilifi, you've got Team Mashamba, Mawoz and Mungiki. In Machakos, you've got Mungiki and Gaza. In Muranga, you have Mungiki. So these are some of the counties that have been able to be printed out. And, you know, it really talks about how Kenya is slowly turning into, you know, a country where there's a lot of political intolerance to an extent that for a politician to be able to survive and have a career, that they need people who secure them by day but cause terror by night. So that is the details that have been, you know, published by the Jukwaa la Usalama report. And the CS for Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen, was actually yesterday at a local TV station interview and spoke about this and just the roadmap ahead. How now do we quell this? How do we now sort of like draw such a bold red line that this is politics, but this is now matters to do with insecurity, and how do you quell that, give policies which may guide that. So Kenya's Ganglands report reveals unholy union between criminals and politicians. There are so serious accusations during the June protests, especially for this year, where we saw people had gone to protest in town, but gangs come in with machetes, with, you know, clubbers, and terrorizing persons that had gone to protest, as well as terrorize people that are actually minding their own businesses. And in Nairobi, the allegations that the county governor of Nairobi was actually the one that deployed these goons and these gangs, reports that he, you know, denied. But this also paints a picture of now where we are, that criminals and politicians, by the way, are now working hand in hand to quell divergent views, to quell opponents, to quell rivals, and to emerge victorious at the end of the day, but at what cost? Because these people are killing people, are hurting people, are destroying businesses, and it's not a good show. If we want to get to first world status, we cannot get there with this trend. Okay, Cynthia, I want to... this is very serious because the top page of the Daily Nation is showing a picture of an X, sharpened X. And I just want to read again. We are from Goma Jeshi Jinga, 42 Brothers, M23, Kapenguria 6, and Usiku Sako. And we have Jeshi Jinga, 42 again from Trans Nzoia Brothers, M23, Kapenguria 6. And we have Mungiki has been for a long time. And that is Kwale, Panga Boys. And Panga Boys, it is not a place. Panga Boys, I think, is a group of young people maybe who use pangas to attack people. And my biggest question is, who are these people being attacked by these pangas, by these exes, Cynthia? Because we've been looking at the issue of gangs all around. We've been looking at the issue of guns all around, maybe Nairobi, CBD, and maybe the regions. And as I said yesterday on the issue of goons, someone said, and someone was being interviewed and he was masked. He did not want to reveal who he was, but they clearly said that we are there for our politicians, for politicians, so that they can survive. And as you've said, the goons have to be around so that these politicians can survive. And I'm asking, we are looking at a place whereby these are politicians, they are benefiting from what they are doing, and they're just benefiting alone. And if at all you have to save, or even you have to hold strongly into something that you believe in, and something maybe that you want to deliver to people, you have to be very clear in mind. You have to be deliberate. You have to know exactly what you want. And the reason as to why you have the goons around you is that maybe you've not delivered to these people. These are the people who you promised to deliver with. Before you are voted in, there are a lot of promises that you rained upon them, that I'll be doing this, I'll make sure that the security is tight. But I'm looking at these big teams of young people who gang up to make sure that we'll be attacking. How do they sit down and say that we buy
like 100 pangas, and why will you buy it? Are you going to do farming in Nairobi, whereby lands are so scarce in Nairobi, and land is very, actually, we are so populated in Nairobi in a way that you can do farming. But where are these pangas going from? Like someone going to Juakali around Kamukunji area, and they are buying like 100 pangas from there, not going to sell from their hardwares or from their shop, but they are going to attack people. As an issue of insecurity around this region. So I think they have to sit down. They have to sit down and plan, who are we going to attack? Who is against our loved person in the political arena? Who is going to remove so-and-so? If another team is against so-and-so, we shall be attacking it. Then look at the issue of theft during the night, and even during like some regions around maybe Uruma, Kariobangi, some places there, whereby maybe attacks may take place anytime, maybe theft may take, you may be attacked any time of the day. So I feel our government, the biggest thing that they need to, even because you've seen even the issue of chiefs in there, whereby they are ready to make sure that they beef up security. But how will it be beefed up if we are looking at Mogiki resurfacing with 130 gangs in Nairobi, just alone?
If you look at just, this is such a grave issue, because if you look at Mungiki and the history and what exactly happened in the post-election violence of 2007, that should tell you just how dangerous this is. The Haiti, the country which we've sent, we sent, police officers to sort of go and restore calm. What was the issue at the center is that gangs had taken over. So if Nairobi County, which is the capital city, and it has got over 130 gangs. If you do a simple math of how many people belong to each gang, go with roughly, let's say 50. So do the math of 130 times 50. That is perhaps just the baseline of the number of people that are walking in this city, from the slums to the CBD, to downtown Nairobi, that are actually part of gangs. And it's just about the politics of it, but it's the fact that you're not going to walk safely, that you have to be at home by as early as 6 p.m. to just avoid being out on the streets, that you can't even run a business. People will come and vandalize your business. So it's quite a ripple effect sort of nature. And it also boils back to the politics of tokenism, because if you're having to employ, not even employ, but recruit an individual to disrupt a particular meeting somewhere, and they're not disrupting it peacefully, they're disrupting it with the use of machete, and they're masked, and they're on border riders, and you're giving them 1,000 shillings. What prevents them from finding you another time, asking you, there's this meeting somewhere, give me 1K, let me go and disrupt it again. So the politics of tokenism is also what needs to end. Sell your ideas as a political leader. Like I've said at the start, development speaks for itself. You do not need to have people go and disrupt a meeting somewhere in the name of politics. So this is such a very worrying trend. And the report also notes that these groups engage in theft, in assault and extortion, mostly targeting low-income neighborhoods where policing is thin and community fear is widespread. This may be the slums that we are talking about, that even how many number of times will a crime be happening in the slum areas, a call is made to police officers to come and intervene, and they won't intervene because even the police themselves,
in a way, they benefit in a way.
Or they're even scared of going because they'll be like, that region is full of goons or gangs. I am not stepping foot into that. So we cannot get to a point where we want to be very developed and have systems that are working if your region or in your area security is a big problem. So this headline is quite worrying, and the Jukwaa la Usalama report has been able to highlight that. And that is why now the president is talking about the chiefs and meeting the chiefs, because some of these chiefs belong in areas like slums where the gangs are high. For example, in Nairobi, if you're having over 130 gangs, including Mungiki, and yet there's a chief within Nairobi who is supposed to execute their duty, it's going to be very difficult. And that is why they have these administration police officers who are now coming in to just sort of give them that backup and the support that they need to ensure that law and order is being maintained within the villages. I
tend to feel that compromise won't be applied upon this, because once you come into system, there is a way you become so strict in delivering what you're supposed to deliver, and people feel that you're so strict upon us, and we've benefiting from what we've been doing for a long time. And once you come into us, like you become a thorn in the flesh, that we won't be benefiting from this. And the issue of politicians and the issue of tokenism is that, remember, these people you're giving, these goons you're giving 1,000 shillings, what if they attack there and they're killed? How will the 1,000 help them? And again, coming back to the other side of it is that these people being attacked, in there, remember, they are the voters. They are their voters. Because if you have to call a meeting, maybe I may attend your meeting and I listen to your manifesto, I listen to your opinions and your ideas, and I feel that maybe you are moving into that same direction. That means clearly that I'll be supporting you. If I feel that your manifesto is not good, I have the liberty, I have the right and the freedom to just come out of your meeting freely, then I say I'll be voting the other person. There is a way that I'm in your meeting, but I feel you're not good, I'll vote the other person. So the other person who is sending the team of goons to come and attack me, maybe I may change and become your voter. Why should you attack someone who may change into buying in your vision and buying in your manifesto?
Right. All right, so that is the headline on top of the page, gangland hotspots, but there are also other stories which I believe are very important that we highlight. Gen Z candidates speak out after by-election setback, and we had by-election candidates who were young, vibrant, individuals who are gunning for seats, but the brutal reality of the campaigns and the brutal reality of politics qua ground hit them. So we had 25-year-olds, 26-year-olds, 30-year-olds that vied for various places or positions, like in Magarini constituency, in Chewani in Taita Taveta, the ward, as well as in Kasipu constituency. I've been talking about how do we change the leadership of the nation, and especially with the Gen Z uprising, and many of them who are brilliant and want to get into these positions, want to change, but unfortunately they do not have the political godfathers to do this. Now the simple math is that, Boyd Were in Kasipu constituency is a young fella, right? Should be between 30 and 33 years of age. And the mere fact that, he has sort of had the support system of ODM party, he got into office, was duly elected, but there's a similar person, same age somewhere, but does not have that political godfather to push them forward, and unfortunately they failed to get into this seat. So Gen Z hopefuls face brutal truths of politics qua ground, and some of them talk about how they go to look for votes and they're asked, unatuachia ngapi ya macho? If you're not able to give us something small, the tokenism, then we're not going to vote for you. There are women candidates who also talk about, some of them being asked about their marital status. Are you married? Do you have children? Why should we trust you with this seat? If you're not even married, you don't know how to, have a family. So, I mean, brutal truths of just the campaign. And if you do a simple math, for example, the parliament, the 13th parliament right now, how many people are below 30 years of age? And how many people are between 30 and 40 years of age? And then how many people are now above 40, and above? It will give you the brutal reality of just the Kenyan politics, that even as Cynthia and Angela, if I want to stand for a seat right now, I need to have somebody to back me up, and not just anyone, but somebody that has been in the political space for a long time. I need to have the financial muscle to go up against UDA candidates or DM candidates, and that's quite a brutal truth.
Okay, I'm looking at that person, that voter who asked the aspirants whether of their marital status, and I want to say these are different setups. These are all different systems. And the issue of tokenism, the issue of asking what unatuachia nini, I think that is what is leading us into poor governance and leadership, whereby you just, if I don't qualify. As we talked about the issue of education, that you asking for a job and maybe you're not qualified, but because you have something that you can give to the person who is employing you, or even giving you that a job position, maybe I feel that let me enjoy this and we shall be training them slowly by slowly. But then at the end of the day, you find these people are not yielding, they're not bringing anything. Awashiki kitu, what you are training them. So this comes back to our politicians. Now, because a politician is able to give maybe 5,000 for your vote, you just elect them because they have. You give them your vote because they have the money. And someone who's brilliant, someone who's got a vision, who has got a good manifesto, they fail to get or even to clinch that seat because maybe they did not give you maybe 50 shillings or 1,000 pub. So I think one thing we need to be so calculative. That I'm getting 5,000 from a leader who is able to give me this, and the leader is not qualified. The leader cannot deliver anything. And I fail to give someone who has got nothing, who is brilliant and who can give something. So I just wanted to make a balance of this and make sure that if we just elect someone, we have to survey very well. We have to go in depth to make sure that we know how this person can work. What is your vision? What's your manifesto? What are the things that you've seen ailing? What are the problems that you see in certain region? So that not an issue of I just, because of money, just fly around your region and I see a few things there, then I say I'll be doing this and you never do. So
yeah, I mean, these are stories that you really hope one day you are going to get over, because one of them says, you know, they walked into a homestead, found only children alone. Then, you know, asks where are your parents, and they say, oh, the parents have gone to so-and-so's rally. And so, you know, it's the harsh reality. One of them says he just had a budget of 20,000 shillings. You talked about millions of money somewhere. And so compare that, this one with 20,000. The other one doing millions and millions of money. Already they, you know, they're quite disadvantaged. And so this, however, should not deter anyone from vying any political seat. You know, you are allowed to if you want to by the Constitution, but it's also a question on you need to sit down and plan accordingly, and also understand that, you know, this is the reality of Kenya as a nation. This is where we are, and that you need that muscle, you need the godfathers, you may even need a popular political party that is going to support you. And then one final story is on Amos Nyaribo.
Or before we go there, Cynthia, for the young people, I think they have to register as voters, as many as possible, so that we are able to clinch these positions. And we just start slow and make sure that at the end of it all, there is a time will be the oldest people in this region. So there is your time, there is the other's time. So we don't have to give up, we don't have to feel that we need to be so desperate, but we just need to register as voters as soon as possible and as many as possible, so that come 2027, we have that authority. If we don't have financial muscles, we can have the issue of being vote rich, so that we can be able to maybe unseat some of the leaders that we feel they're not doing what we expect.
All right, so Amos Nyaribo, Nyamira County Governor, is on the Senate floor today as he, you know, goes through the impeachment trial at the floor of the Senate. And so he'll be appearing today and tomorrow. So some of the accusations against him is accused of altering county fiscal priorities, appointing and retaining Paris Oroko CC member despite assembly refusal, appointing board members for Nyamira and Keroka municipalities without assembly vetting, unilaterally forming a selection panel to recruit members of the county public service, and recruiting 358 staff without budgetary provision. So Amos Nyaribo, who has faced impeachment twice, by the way, now this is the third time, and it gets to the floor of the Senate. So it will be, you know, on Senate plenary rather than a committee, as we've seen perhaps the trend with senators wanting to just, all of them listening to these proceedings. Is he, I believe, the third county governor, if I'm not wrong, that is now going through the Senate impeachment? We had Kawira Mwangaza, we had Eric Mutai, who survived, and now Amos Nyaribo of Nyamira.
I said, I had a statement towards Nyaribo, and we saw what happened to Kawira, Meru governor, and this is to mean that maybe there are some, as we're still talking about the issue of tokenism, it's like there are some mechanisms that you use to make sure that you're in power and you are not able to deliver, you're not able to do what you're supposed to do. So if Nyaribo survives, I think you need to sit back, you need to think, what have I been doing, what have I not been doing to my people? So have I not been representing my people well? So you have to sit, he has to sit down if only he survives. If he does not survive, let him know that you are given the first one, the second warning, and this is the third one. So this is to mean you just try to crucify yourself. So that's when it comes to unabeba mzigo wako mwenyewe. And the kind of Bible that I've seen is lifting there. It's a very new Bible. He believes in two things, and he believes in, if the Bible is freshly bought, it will make me survive all this. But the top line, let leaders work for their people.
Yeah, so we'll be keeping tabs with that at the floor of the Senate today and tomorrow to just understand where the governor will end at. So Jeff will take us through some of your feedback that has been coming online with regards to some of the issues that we've been talking about this morning.
Yes, I will read very few of them, and I'm starting with Simon Peter Deck, watching from Umoja, and Princess Tracy, good morning, following from Makueni Matiliku. Diana Mwania, good morning. Cynthia Jeff, watching from Digo Road. Immaculate Mothoni, good morning. Good morning to you. And Kennedy Juba Asiri, good morning. And Lusweti Kehi, good morning from the studio. Good morning to you. Good. And Kennedy Sisungo, good morning from this side. And Mika, good morning, good people watching from Buruburu. Then the last one that I'm reading, good morning, live from Makueni Matiliku. Thank you for watching. And what is your parting shot, Cynthia?
Well, not quite a parting shot, but just to perhaps thank the viewers as well, yet again for their support, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's December, and so you've been supporting us across the year.
Yeah.
But don't switch off just yet. We still have a couple of shows to go before the year ends.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Have yourself a good morning.
Thank you for choosing in EBN TV and Morning Live Show. Thank you for choosing Radio Mshindi. We always treasure you, and thank you for trusting us. We shall be bringing you every content that you want from us, and you can also send your suggestion through our social media platforms, and our SMS line is always open. That is 2305. Now, it's December 3rd. 2025, and we saw the advisory that NTSA gave. Please, if you're going on, make sure that you're safe, and if you're traveling through or by a matatu, make sure that the makanga, the conductor who is taking you home, the driver, make sure that they are not drunk, make sure that they are sober. And sometimes because it's rush hour, because it's their harvest time, sometimes they want to eep you. It's like they want to congest you in a matatu. If it's a 14-seater, let it be a 14-seater, and you need to speak out. You can shout for your safety. So because that person or that driver and that matatu operator is there for your advantage and you benefiting them, please make sure that you shout out for your safety. Make sure you're not put in as logs, because we need you next year, we need you another year. And remember, God loves you so much, and this being our a Christian TV station, we always pray for you. We always pray that everything that you pray from God, it comes out as you wish. And the most important thing that you can do is to appreciate and thank God for the gift of life, making up to this point, because we know many wanted to see a great day like today, but they've not seen. So anytime you're interacting, engaging with people, make sure that your safety comes first. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.